Hey there, y'all. Disney D Prince here today with another Make It Over Monday. I am going to try a different filming setup for this. We're going to go completely overhead so that way I can be a little bit closer to the action and not be all in the bottom right corner or the bottom left corner of the screen. So I am going to try to do something on here a little more complex, kind of in the vein of this necklace that I made, I think. But I think what I want to do is combine it with the Princess Diana inspired necklace that we made a couple of weeks back to where we can do a little bit more of that drop down and then make some matching earrings to go with it, as well as a matching bracelet. So we're also going to use a couple of our gems eventually. But for now, we are going to start with our basic beading needle and our thread that's already knotted at the end. And as usual, we are going to secure to the end of the link of chain. Because that keeps us grounded. Okay. So again, once through and twice knotted to secure. What I want to try to do is knot around that original knot at the end of the thread, just because we can. Okay. Just like that. And then because this one is going to get a little more complicated, I'm going to kind of immediately snip this extra thread here at the end. I'm using my regular little sewing scissors this time and not the nippers, just because I want to be a little bit more secure with it. So we are going to start with a choker length, so our shorter necklaces, and we are going to use the 11O beads that we usually use and the 8O beads that we usually use, in addition to like 3 of our gems. So what I'm going to do, because we're not going to use too many of our larger gems or our larger pearls, I'm going to take these out ahead of time. So I'm going to take, say, probably 6, because what we want to do is do 2 on either side of the drops and 1 at the end. So actually we need 9, so I need 2 more. So 9 of our large ones. I'm going to set those off to the side over here on our plate. I always keep a plate over here when I'm doing beading, just because the raised edge allows us to kind of keep things from going everywhere. So we are going to grab a handful of our smaller beads. Oh, actually, before I do that, I'm going to grab our other ones, and I think today we're going to go for ruby. So we're going to do, for the necklace, we're going to do 3 drops like we did on our emerald looking one. And then we're going to go back and get our 11O beads. And always remember to screw your caps back on in the meanwhile, so that way you don't have a bead overflow. And we're gonna start beading. I'm gonna do probably like, probably 10 before our first drop. So that was 5, 6, 7, right? No, that's 8, okay. 9, 9, 10, okay. And we're gonna pull it down to the end of the chain. We're gonna see where we're at as far as that on there. And yeah, we're about 1/3 of the way in there. So that's good. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with one of our larger beads. Drop that down. And then we're gonna do 1, 2, 3 of our smaller beads, one of our larger beads, and then one of our larger crystals. And then we'll go back down to that. Now, in the meanwhile, we're gonna take these other beads and put them back in, because what we're gonna be doing is a little more detail oriented. So what we're gonna wanna do is go back up through those smaller beads and the one larger bead. Okay. And we're going to want to pull down to where we are flush with that, as close to flush as we can get. And then once we've got that to a spot that we like, we're gonna grab another of our large beads, just like this, to kind of round off that drop. Kind of round off the drop like that. You guys can see that from there, yeah? So that way it'll kind of close that in. And because we're gonna go and make these a little bit closer, I'm only gonna do like 3 beads between each drop, because I did like 5 on our last one and it was a little bit close, or a little bit too far for my taste. And then again, we've got another large bead. And then we're going to grab more of our 11-0 beads to start our drop. And because we did 3 small beads on the last one, we're gonna do at least 5. Because I did them all the same length last time, and it came out a little bit more bowed than I would have liked. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna grab another of our large beads and our second crystal. Then from there, we're gonna do that same process that we did last time, except we've got more beads to back up through. And if we just kind of hold things in place it's a little bit easier. And then we've got them like that. And what we'll do is we'll grab our next little smaller bead, close that in, and go back and grab some more of our seed beads. Again, 3 is what we did on the other side, so we're going to do it on the same side. I am making these a little bit more detailed than the last time around because I'm doing the larger beads on there. So this might actually wind up being a wider necklace, but that's okay. And then we did 3 beads on the first drop, so that's what we're going to do here on the third to make it symmetrical. Whoop. And that's why I say put the lids back on. But that's okay. I also have a silicone mat here, so it kind of stops things from running away on me too badly. But that's okay. These things are not crazy expensive, which is why I like them. Like, they're not cheap, but as far as like jewelry making goes, these are probably the cheapest ones that you can get. And then we're going to go back up through our 3 beads. Just like this. So I maybe should have only done 1 bead in between. But anyway, we've got our large bead to close it off. And then we're going to do 10 of the smaller beads, which I will pick up from my whatchamacallit. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And that should put us at the perfect choker length, almost exactly. So brava on our end on that one. So I'm going to go and attach it to the third link as always, going through to secure the first time. Okay, and then knotting to secure the next 2 times. Okay. So this is actually going to wind up being more of a V shape, which isn't bad. Let's see how that's actually going to look. So that is how it winds up looking. As you can kind of see, it'll hold its shape a little bit wider than the emeralds that we did because we included those larger beads there at the top. I think if I was going to go back and remake this, I would do 1 bead in between the 2 large beads before the drops, just to make them a little bit narrower, to give it more of that waterfall necklace look. But I still like the way it turned out. So we are going to release it from the chain. Same way that we normally do, just grab our either our nippers or pliers, either way. And then we're gonna snip off this end right there. And then we are golden as far as our necklace goes. And again, you can kind of readjust these gems as needed. You can kind of play with it a little bit as far as the tension goes. But get you guys a little bit more of a close-up up here. But it's very fun. So we did that. Now the next thing that we want to do is we want to tie off our remaining thread. That's why I always start with a really long piece so I can do 2 or 3 things at the same needle threading. Just because I have big giant fingers and I hate threading needles, no matter what kind of needle threader or big eye needle that I'm using, I'm still bad at it. And so we are going to do one of our bracelets that we worked on. In the last couple of weeks. And then I'm going to go through and go like that, making sure we knot around our end thread at least. And remember, if we're worried about these coming loose, we can very easily add a little bit of super glue. I like to use these because you can like drop it out bit by bit, and it's got control handles for my big giant hands. So we are going to go with the jump ring method again, because it's a little bit easier to hook them on. And we are going to do just this difference between the choker and the princess length winds up being about the right length for us to make a bracelet. So we are going to do about, we did 12 last time and it was a little big with everything. So I'm going to do 6 of our smaller beads. I'm going to grab 2 of our larger beads for the middle. Okay. 2 of our larger beads for the middle. Makes our life a little bit easier. And then we're going to grab 1 more of our little ruby crystals. And we're going to make a centerpiece. So it will be 3 small beads. So 3 of the 6-0, or no, 3 of the 11-0, 2, 1 of the 8-0, and then 1 of the crystal. So we get a bracelet that looks kind of like that. And I think this should be just about the perfect length. Yeah, because with the extra length of chain and the jump ring, that'll be just about right. So what we're going to do is we are going to secure to the other side of the chain, remembering to skip a link. Don't worry, we'll save those links for later if we need them. Okay, just like this. And then we are going to go and secure through twice. Because we're paranoid. Okay. So we've got that. So now we're going to go through and we're going to release it from the chain. Just like that. Saving that extra link. And then from there, we are going to grab our scissors and we're going to cut off the extra thread. Just like that. We're going to save that extra thread. And now this is about the width that we need for a doll, but because we want to make it a little bit more removable, we're going to just take this link out in the middle. Just like that. To where we get a nice flat bracelet. And then we want to take our regular jump ring, nice and easy. Again, I get these from like the Dollar Tree. And we want to just stick them on there. Just like that. And just like that. And the best way to do this is with some just fell down into my void beneath my filming area, but that's okay, I got it. I made sure to vacuum first this time. But yeah, if you just hold it and twist it, makes it pretty easy. So now we've got a little bracelet to go with that. So our next thing that we want to do, I forgot this was attached to something and not just there for show. So what we want to do now is we want to do some earrings. Now we don't have a whole lot of thread left, but I think we can do some simple drops. Just based on this one little thing of thread. I always try to get that knot as close to the end of my doubled up thread as I can, but such is life sometimes. And then we don't need this much out. So we are going to just do it like that. And we might actually use our little links that we took out, because we're only going to take one link at a time anyway. Okay, so I need to hold the bottom with something tight. Okay, so now we've got our one link that we're ready to tie to. And then we will secure it just like this. Boop, boop, boop. How did that work? What? Can't tell if it was too thin or if I missed. Well, screw that. Okay. If you want to do that with taking your time, you can do it. I'm gonna just go like this because apparently I have not mastered my own method. There we go. And then knotted once, because this is not a super like tension thing. We just kind of want to make it pretty. Okay, so we've done that. And we're gonna grab, I think just like 2 or 3, probably 3, just to match the shorter drops that we have on there. Yeah. But because we had the larger ones, I'm going to grab 4 of these. So 1 for each of the top and the bottom, and then another 2 to go on the actual post. So that way we can make them pretty like that. Okay, 1 of those, 3 of these, okay, and then another 1 of these. And last but not least, we're going to grab 2 of these for our ends. And then from there, we are going to try to get these as tight as we can get them before we tie it off again. Okay. And then another once through, just for good luck. Okay, and then from there, we are going to grab our very next link, and we are going to break it. And throw that back over there. And we are going to trim off our lovely little thread. Whoop. I really am like a bull in a china shop. It is bad. And I've always liked tiny things as far as like miniatures and things like that. And I have not gotten any better with age. It is just distressful. Okay, so we've got those. We can grab one of our earring backs, or not earring backs, but post. We're actually going to grab two, I think, just so that way I can only do this once. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to take it down with one of our larger what's the word? Flush cutters. Do that. What we want to try to do is get a nice flush end. And then from there, we get an earring that looks like that. And what we want to do is hopefully have enough thread still on our needle down here to do that again. At this point, you could rethread your needle if you are wanting to do that, but I am going to try and utilize all of the parts of the buffalo here today. And the nice part about these beading needles is that you can kind of just back them through the thread. And not have to worry about it quite so much. But we're gonna do large bead and then 3 small. And another large. And then our crystal. And then from there, we want to, again, try to get as close as we can to our okay. And then we're going to go through the top loop again. And then again, we're going to try and knot it. Just like that. And then we're going to break this very next link. Okay, and we'll hold on to that. And then we're going to take this one and again try to trim it down so we can utilize this as our post. Dang it. It's okay, I've got extras on here. There we go. Okay. And then we will snip off the ends here. Okay. That's how we do it in India now. Okay. And then we've got a second little earring. So we have made all of that in just under 40 minutes real time. And now we have a complete set of jewelry for really a couple of pennies worth of materials and less than an hour of time. And honestly, you could do it faster if you're not trying to make sure everything is visible like I am, just because I like to make sure you guys can actually see what I'm doing. If you guys prefer this overhead view, let me know in the comments, because I'm not sure if you guys can see everything. I don't know if I need to zoom in some more, because I can't actually see this while I'm doing it like I normally do when I do it in POV. So if you guys have any questions on the process, again, this is how it winds up, and all of these will go into your dolls using the methods that we've covered in our previous Make It Over Mondays. And you can do this with any kind of beads, any like seed beads. You can do it with larger jewels like we did with our crystals. There are plenty of options to choose from. So there are lots of ways to kind of take these very simple designs and make them your own. So if you guys have questions, leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed it, leave me a like. And as always, follow along for some more fun unboxings. All right, y'all. Be good. Bye.